Evelyn sat in her sleek, upscale apartment, her manicured nails tapping anxiously on the marble countertop. Her mind was in turmoil as she pondered her next move. For years, she had been the envy of her social circle, married to the charming and successful David. They had built a life together filled with luxury, extravagant vacations, and high society events. But beneath the facade of wealth and glamour, cracks had started to appear. David's once thriving business had hit hard times, and their lavish lifestyle was no longer sustainable. Evelyn found herself using her own savings to maintain the illusion of prosperity. She had grown resentful of David's inability to provide, his once confident demeanor replaced by a sense of defeat. One fateful evening, after yet another heated argument about money, Evelyn made a decision that would alter the course of her life. She packed her bags and left, unable to bear the thought of living in financial ruin. With tears in her eyes, she walked away from the man she had once loved, convinced that she was making the right choice. In the days that followed, Evelyn struggled to adjust to life on her own. Without David's presence, the silence was deafening, and Evelyn found herself longing for the familiar comfort of their shared life. As she attempted to navigate her newfound independence, Evelyn realized just how much she had relied on David for stability. Simple tasks like paying bills and managing finances seemed daunting without his guidance. Despite her initial anger and resentment, she couldn't shake the feeling of emptiness that consumed her every waking moment. One rainy afternoon, as Evelyn wandered the streets aimlessly, lost in her thoughts, she stumbled upon a quaint cafe tucked away on a quiet corner. Seeking refuge from the downpour, she stepped inside and was greeted by the warm aroma of freshly brewed coffee. As she settled into a cozy corner booth, Evelyn noticed a familiar face across the room. It was Sarah, an old friend from college whom she hadn't seen in years. Over steaming cups of coffee, Sarah listened attentively as Evelyn poured out her heart, recounting the events that had led her to this moment of despair. With empathy and understanding, Sarah offered words of comfort and reassurance, reminding Evelyn of her strength and resilience. Inspired by Sarah's unwavering support, Evelyn resolved to take control of her life once again. She enrolled in night classes to update her skills and embarked on a job search with renewed determination. Slowly but surely, Evelyn began to rebuild her confidence and sense of self-worth. She embraced new opportunities with open arms, unafraid to venture outside her comfort zone. As she immersed herself in her work, she discovered a passion for helping others and found fulfillment in making a difference in the lives of those less fortunate. Months passed, and as Evelyn looked back on the woman she used to be, she couldn't help but feel a pang of regret. She had walked away from David in a moment of weakness, unable to see past his financial struggles to the man she had once loved unconditionally. In her pursuit of material wealth and social status, she had lost sight of what truly mattered. With a heavy heart, Evelyn reached out to David, hoping for a chance to make amends. As Evelyn walked into the building, her heart pounding with nervous anticipation. It had been months since she had last seen David, and she wasn't sure what to expect. Would he welcome her back with open arms, or would he turn her away, unable to forgive her for abandoning him in his time of need? With a deep breath, Evelyn pushed open the door and stepped inside. The familiar scent of David's cologne filled the air, triggering memories of happier times. She found him in the living room, sitting in his favorite armchair with a laptop in his hand. He looked up as she entered, his expression unreadable. "I'm sorry, David. I know I hurt you, and I regret it every day," she said. David studied her for a moment, his eyes searching hers for any sign of sincerity. Tears welled up in Evelyn's eyes as she crossed the room and sank to her knees beside him. Then, to Evelyn's relief, he smiled, a small, sad smile that spoke volumes. "I've missed you," he admitted, his voice thick with emotion. I never stopped loving you, Evelyn, no matter how much you hurt me." She reached out tentatively, her fingers brushing against his cheek, and he leaned into her touch, his eyes closing in silent acceptance. "I love you too, David," she whispered, her voice trembling with emotion. "I was foolish to ever doubt that." In that moment, as they held each other close, Evelyn knew that she had been given a second chance, a chance to right the wrongs of the past and rebuild their relationship from the ground up. In the days that followed, Evelyn and David worked tirelessly to repair the damage that had been done to their marriage. They attended counseling sessions together, learning to communicate openly and honestly about their fears and insecurities. They both came up with solutions to overcome the financial crisis that has threatened their marriage and made better plans for the future. They took long walks in the park, hand in hand, rediscovering the simple pleasures of being together. With each passing day, Evelyn felt herself falling more deeply in love with David than she ever thought possible. She marveled at his resilience in the face of adversity, his unwavering strength and determination to overcome the challenges that life had thrown their way. Together, they made plans for the future, a future filled with hope and possibility. They talked about starting a family, about buying a small cottage in the countryside where they could escape the hustle and bustle of city life. They dreamed of traveling the world together, exploring far-off destinations and making memories that would last a lifetime. But amidst the joy and excitement of their newfound reconciliation, Evelyn couldn't shake the nagging feeling of guilt that gnawed at her conscience. As Evelyn pondered how best to atone for her past mistakes, she stumbled upon an opportunity that seemed too perfect to ignore. A local charity organization was hosting a fundraiser to support families in need, and they were in desperate need of volunteers to help with the event. Without hesitation, Evelyn signed up, throwing herself into the task with gusto. She spent hours planning and organizing, rallying friends and family to donate their time and resources to the cause. She poured her heart and soul into making the fundraiser a success, determined to make a positive impact on the community she called home. When the day of the event finally arrived, Evelyn was overwhelmed by the outpouring of support from the community. People came from all walks of life to show their support, donating generously to help those less fortunate than themselves. And as Evelyn looked out over the crowded room, she felt a sense of pride and fulfillment wash over her. She had learned that wealth and material possessions were fleeting, but the bonds of love and friendship were eternal. She had learned that true happiness could not be found in fancy cars or designer clothes, but in the simple pleasures of life, a warm embrace, a kind word, a shared moment of laughter and joy. But most importantly, she had learned that love was worth fighting for, even when the odds seemed stacked against her. She had learned that forgiveness was not a sign of weakness, but of strength, a strength that could heal even the deepest wounds and mend broken hearts. And as Evelyn looked into David's eyes, she knew that she had found her happily ever after, a love that was stronger and more resilient than she could have ever imagined. Years passed, and Evelyn and David grew old together, their love standing the test of time. They welcomed children into their lives, watched them grow and flourish into kind, compassionate adults who shared their parents' passion for helping others. And through it all, they remained each other's rock, supporting and cherishing one another until the end of their days.